Hi everybody, this video is a guide for beginners who are making the first steps in the game Kill Knight. So I'm going to share with you tips that help me out. I struggled a lot, by the way, especially at the beginning, but after getting a bit of more experience, these tips can really help you out and become better in the game. The first thing is focus on completing objectives. Of course, you can unlock things using the currency in-game when you just play, but it can take a lot of time, whether if you do it with just completing objectives, you can get, certain upgrades really fast. And of course, you can use the other currency that you get with just playing, of course, to unlock something else that is much harder to unlock. And basically this means unlock more gear. The thing is that some gear might be better for certain levels, as it was for me, but nonetheless, it's not like everything you unlock going to be better than the previous one. It works that you just get better variation that you can actually create builds that might fit better your playstyle or might be better for certain levels. And I can tell you from experience that I actually finished one level that I was struggling like crazy just by changing my pistol. Actually, the pistol that you see here where I kind of rotate and allows me to eliminate many enemies when they are surrounding me. This makes it much easier compared to the other guns, and of course in higher levels, more difficult levels, enemies are very packed and it's very easy to kind of get overwhelmed, so it really helped me out. The next tip for you is just practice on the lower difficulties. This makes it of course more accessible for you. You're gonna learn how to play, you're gonna get adjusted to the controls and the play style. Here, for example, this is the first time I'm doing the 9 difficulty, which of course was impossible for me until I was, of course, unlocked more gear. Then, of course, I got used to playing the game and more comfortable with the controls and learned different strategies. Then I could just tackle the higher difficulties. The next thing is very important. Prioritize enemies. For example, these one are range, and if you don't pay to range, they can hammer you with lots of projectiles. So it's better to take care of them first, and then the one that actually follow me to do melee damage. So again, you can see these little beetles, for example, they do range damage, so I prioritize them first. Now, next thing is be mobile. If you're mobile, basically enemies can miss you because they're aiming at your previous location. So if you try to move like left, right, you can actually, as you can see here, just endangering yourself. Also, try not to corner yourself. In such a situation, it's better just to stay in the middle, let enemies, try to get close to you and then deal lots of damage when they are close. For example, with my pistol where I can just do this move and eliminate lots of enemies, rather than getting into a corner where lots of projectiles can come at me and I will have no way to avoid it. Now, it depends on the playstyle, of course, and how many dashes that you have. In certain situations, you might be better off kind of kiting around enemies. In other situations, you can kind of back off a bit and get back in once you kind of, get your cooldown for your dash ready. Next thing is try different various gear combinations. It works amazingly well for me because sometimes I'm really not sure what to take, but I feel like when I play that I'm missing this thing, so I can patch it out with different gear. And basically try different things. Really, some people play this game differently, depends on their play style. So it's better just to try yourself and see what works best for you. So if you see that something doesn't work, just try a different thing. Even if you're not sure 100% if it's going to work, give it a try. You might find out that a certain pistol or sword might be better for that particular level that you are struggling with. You might find out that, for example, an armor that has very high protection but only one dash can be very good at certain level. Actually, it was for me in one of the levels, so it really helped me out finish one of the levels that I was struggling with. The other thing is learning the level, basically, especially when using Wrath Burst, which is the most powerful thing for clearing up enemies. So I realized, for example, there are these purple enemies that drop you health. So again, you want to take advantage of that if you are low on health. But to maximize that, you need to know, for example, in one of the levels, there was only a single purple, but after I clear it up, there were 2 of them appearing. So it's better to know in the level when to use what I used here, as you can see, the Wrath Burst, rather than spending it the time, which I'm not really going to take big benefit from. Now, it's good to use it often because you're going to, of course, get more blood gems fast, and it allows you to ramp up the damage and your movement speed. But again, it's better for survivability, especially against tough enemies, to use it at the right time and also maximize the amount of healing that you can get so you can get back to the fight faster in case you're low on health. Now don't sleep on the melee, on your sword, because this is one of the most powerful things you have in the game. Some of them allows you to even absorb projectiles, and of course they allows you to deal very good damage. Some of them of the swords later on that I unlocked, for example, recently, allowed me to deal massive damage to enemies. It also charges your heavy attack, and your heavy attack is very, very powerful. It allows you to, first, two main things. First of all, clear lots of enemies very, very fast. And second, get rid of some of the enemies, like this spinning thing that forces you to actually move to another location and just ruin the pace of the game, your positioning. So you can clear it up very fast. Even some of the bigger enemies we don't want to waste your Wraith Burst on, you can just use the heavy attack to clear them up fast. Like here, for example, I'm using it to clear this big dude that runs after me. These are the spinning ones that I'm talking about. If you have heavy armor, heavy attack, you can actually clear them up pretty fast. Otherwise, it can be a bit annoying to get rid of, especially if there are several of them on the screen. Sometimes I even save it like in SOS just in case I'm getting cornered or something, so it can help me out. So again, it depends on the situation, but having this filled up is a must. I mean, you're gonna have so much easier life if you at least make sure that you get it, I don't know if full again, but when you can, keep it full just in case you need it. It doesn't take a lot in order to fill it up, of course. So in this case of my night difficulty here on the first level, I was able to finish it off because I was focusing on both using a different pistol that made it much, much easier, and also using a combination of heavy attacks as well. Now, of course, if you're focusing on higher score, you want to make sure to have everything that you can use to clear things up faster, become stronger, so you can clear things up even faster. So it's up to you what you're focusing at, and the first ones, people don't focus on score rather than just trying to beat the level. But just so you know, right now, as of time beginning this video, the score doesn't order by difficulty rather than just score, although you have the option to filter it out. One thing I also realized, especially at the higher levels and higher difficulties, that it's better to focus on clearing those enemies that deal AoE damage, because again, they just interfere with the pathing. You always need to reposition, and try to reposition and avoid projectiles and everything. Just makes things so complicated. Just try to deal everything at the same time. Because some of the enemies melee, you can run away from them, and the range, of course, you need to prioritize as well. But AoE is kind of the thing that really ruin everything for me. So when I see an enemy does AoE, I try to prioritize that enemy and get rid of this enemy, because otherwise the other ones are much easier to deal with. Like here, for example, I did the wrong prioritization. So basically I need to get rid of the one that spawns at the top, which does AoE, and also get rid of the beetles. You see this one? I should have gotten there first rather than this one. We can just use Axe in order to stop attacking me. And by the way, this is also important. If you have this enemy that jumps on you, try to use Axe at the right time. It's not hard, but basically it's much better to deal with AoE first and then prioritize on the other ones that close distance on you. As you can see, I don't have heavy, so I have a problem, because otherwise I could have rid of all the enemies very fast, even those spinning things, but I didn't. Alright, so that's a mistake because I didn't pay attention to it. So it will be just harder for me to clear the level. Another thing very important is try to not pay it. You need to pay attention to the UI where you do the gun attack, when you need to time it right. But the thing is that you need to already get accustomed to it in terms of timing. When it just appears on the screen and you see it kind of in a blurry way. If you try to focus on that, you lose focus on the fight. And this is something that I kind of got used to, always looking at the UI, how much health I have and everything. So the more I actually try to look at it less and see it maybe a bit blurry, just instead of focusing on directly to see it sharp, the more I was able to actually see what's happening in the fight and not lose focus. So the way I deal with it, I just get used to not focusing on the middle of the screen for it. I just know that if it's something in the middle of the screen is there gray, I know just like a second and a half after I need just to click again, or second, I don't know, I just get used to the timing, and then I just have more focus on the enemies rather than on the UI. Now if you play Diablo, it's kind of similar. Basically you want to group enemies together to maximize the amount of enemies that you eliminate every single time. And also, for example, with my ability to kind of rotate 360 and eliminate enemies in this particular case, And also if you have, for example, several purple enemies, you want to group them up so you can eliminate them all together with your breath burst so you can get more healing. Again, this depends on the type of breath burst that you're actually using, but in many cases it will be better to group enemies together to maximize the amount of enemies that you eliminate and the amount of HP items that drops so you can quickly heal. Now in terms of prioritizing items, the pistol was my first priority, then the secondary one, the heavy, and then the sword, and then the armor, and then the other one. So these are my priorities in terms of unlocking things. But then I mean, I'm not saying unlock all the guns first. I mean, you go one by one. That's what I did. First the gun, and then the secondary one, and then also, by the way, unlock the armor first, because the armor with the higher protection is also good, but you can do without it. So the sword is very important, especially the 360, and let alone the one that comes after that deal massive damage. But the thing is that if you start unlocking things that takes a long currency and you can finish the objectives, if you can finish the objectives, great, but if not, it can take you a lot of time and it can be demotivating. So start unlocking, you know, the first ones and then go to the deeper ones that cost more. And the other thing, of course, is just practice. Trust me, when you practice a lot, you're gonna get used to things. It can become like second nature. Much easier when you kind of get warm and you play well. Of course, you're gonna learn how to, learn the levels and know where to position yourself, where enemies spawn at the first time, where it's best position yourself rather than cornering yourself. This is something you just learn from experience, and things becomes much easier. You don't basically need even to think about it. So yeah, I'm still playing, of course, more challenges ahead, but basically this works for me and I keep progressing every single day. Take a break, by the way, if you think that you are not doing well, don't overforce it to yourself and just enjoy the game. Thanks for watching.